Girl power, one of the big moments of the past century. As we approach midnight, is coming up in less than 3 hours now in Newfoundland, and we'll be covering live the celebrations there. Now, a few moments ago, we told you that the Air Farce New Year's Eve special comes up. It's 21 minutes away from now, and that has, of course, been a tradition at the CBC for years now on New Year's Eve. A very special broadcast with our friends from Air Farce coming up in 21 minutes. You won't want to miss a moment of that. Meanwhile, we spoke a few moments ago about the Air Canada Centre tonight here in Toronto, where the Tragically Hip are performing. The CBC's Ralph Ben-Mergy is outside the Air Canada Centre. Are they starting to arrive yet? Concert it doesn't start, what, for another hour or two?
Well, you know, it's getting kind of busy. The people are starting to flow in. At 7:30, they're all supposed to be in their seats, but this is a rock concert, not supposed to be on time. These people are all getting... Are you guys getting ready to go in? Are you freezing? Yeah, they're freezing. Everybody's freezing, but soon they'll be in there and they'll be boiling. And that's the way it is. We'll have the Skydiggers, the Tragically Hip, the Mahones, all kinds of people are going to show up. It's like a marathon. We, of course, will have the Tragically Hip live in about 20 minutes to midnight, and then about 2 minutes after midnight, we'll put them back on again, have a little more rock and roll.
All right, Ralph, thanks very much. Stay warm, eh? You're the first person to complain about the weather so far. You know, across the world, since Auckland, New Zealand, where it was raining, everybody said it's fine.
You're sitting in there, you're warm, and I'm coming to get you later.
Ralph Ben-Mergy outside the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. North of Toronto at Bala, another big concert tonight. Blue Rodeo playing. Adrian Arso is with us. Adrian.
Hi there, Peter. Did you say Ralph was the first one to complain about the weather?
Now, don't start.
Can I be number 2?
A little cold up there, a little chilly?
It's cold, but it's going to get very hot and very crazy here pretty soon, I figure.
Now, this is the key to Bala, as the sign says right behind you. This is a big hot spot in what they call cottage country north of Toronto, right?
Absolutely. Well, we're in Muskoka, and, you know, it's one of those perfect cottage country kind of nights, a little bit of wood smoke in the air, the lake's starting to freeze, that sort of thing. And this key to Bala is an institution here. In the summertime, maybe 40, 50 years ago, people would start coming here, start listening to the bands. That, you know, they'd come by boat, and the reputation developed that this was a great place, you know, to have a good night out on a warm summer night and listen to bands. And, you know, Guy Lombardo used to come, the Dorsey brothers, Duke Ellington. So this reputation over the years has built, and Blue Rodeo has caught on to this, and they love playing here. They've been here for years.
Guy Lombardo to Blue Rodeo. That's quite a performance.
I know, it's a bit of a stretch,
grouping.
I know. It's a couple generations down the road, but
now,
this...
How many people can get in there? Is this a big concert?
Well, they tell us they can squeeze about 1,000 people in there, but, you know, given it's the winter, you got some big coats happening. I figure we're probably going to be looking at maybe 600 to 800 people. We've got a couple of bands lined up before Blue Rodeo. And, you know, it's one of these places, I don't know if you've ever been in here, but you don't so much hear the music as feel it in the core of your being. They were doing some sound checks earlier, and I was trying to write on a pad, and the walls were shaking. I could see the posters shaking, and my pen wasn't working very well, so it's going to be very loud. Very
loud and very good, I'm sure. The camera's in there, all set up to take a number of hits from Blue Rodeo. We're looking forward to that. When do they get on stage? Do you know, roughly?
Well, it's funny. Jim Cuddy is actually playing in Barrie, playing a solo act first. Then he's going to drive up here, and the plan is that they'll be on the they'll be hitting, you know, the guitars and stuff at about 11:30. That's what we're aiming for, and they're going to play right through until they decide they've had enough.
No, I love that. That is a classically Canadian story. Jim Cuddy, one of the big class Canadian rock legends. And he's driving up from one concert to get to a New Year's Eve concert. You know, we saw the Eurythmics earlier. They were, you know, they probably chopper around. Got to leave you, Adrian. We'll be talking to you later because I hear that train whistling. It's coming down the track. And we know that this is the train from Halifax. It's going to Truro. And on board is the only person who can compete with that train sound is our own Colleen Jones. Now, I don't know whether we've connected yet with Colleen. We're going to try to connect with her when this train stops. It's going to make a special stop for us so we can talk to her. She told us she may be driving the train, but that didn't look like her up there. And that's probably a good thing for the other passengers on the Halifax to Truro train ride. Great idea. Colleen was on there with Ian James. Let's see whether we see any familiar waves from the window here. She's on there somewhere, and we'll be talking to her in a few moments. Well, she's somewhere on that train, and as we said, we will talk to her and see how that trip is progressing. She's coming now, you tell me? Really? Now let's hold on and see. Because we need an update. And nobody can give us an update like Colleen. One of the mainstays of the CBC morning show. Every morning you can catch Colleen doing weather, doing the sports. She's somewhere on that train. There she is. Wave to us. We got you. We just can't hear you. We're trying to read lips here, Colleen. It sounds like you're saying you're having a great time. Yes. And you're looking forward to talking to us later. Yes. All right, Colleen Jones on board a Via train outside Halifax, and we'll be connecting with her a little later on. Well, from Halifax to Winnipeg, Diana Swain joins us. Diana.
Hi, Peter. We're out here on the skating rink at the Forks. We've got some skaters who are much better than I am from the Winnipeg Figure Skating Foundation, the best amateur skaters in Winnipeg, taking to the ice today. It is a perfect night for New Year's Eve. Just a little bit of snow falling. It's a little bit cool, which makes me look kind of cool in what I'm wearing, I think. And it's a great night to be outside for a family New Year's Eve, which is exactly what the Forks is about. This is just one venue, but they're expecting tens of thousands of people down here, which is pretty much what we had during the Pan Am Games. And there's lots of other things going on around town. I can hear some drums going on in my ear. That must mean that Chris Walby's over by one of the tents where they're making bannock. No doubt he's at the food tent.
How are we doing over here? Listen, we're in one of our traditional areas right here at TP. What a great room in here. I'm with Clarence Nippenak, his wife Barbara, and of course Kevin, the traditional singer right now. We're making some bannock right now, or scone as the Scottish people call it. Great stuff. Little smoke in here, but they tell me it's not normally like this. We just got a lot of people running around here. Great exhibition right now. We've also got something downtown at the Thunderbird right now. They're all coming down. I tell you, what a night. The Candlelight March. Candles lit by people coming from the four corners of the city. What a party, people. I'm telling you right now. Manitoba, Winnipeg is where it's at.
Chris Walby joining us live from Winnipeg. And Chris, of course, one of the mainstays of the CFL on CBC, our football coverage. Former Blue Bomber himself. And hey, when you listen to Chris, there's no doubt what was happening in the huddle. When Chris spoke, they listened. Even though he wasn't the quarterback, if he wanted to speak, everybody listened. We're going from Winnipeg to Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, where we're very fortunate to be joined tonight on stage in the casino in Prince Albert by one of Canada's greatest country and western singers, Paul Brandt. Paul, you just doing a sound check there, getting ready for tonight?
We're here at the Northern Lights Casino. We're very excited about it. What a cool night. We've been actually following a lot of your broadcasts, and it's exciting to see everything that's happening along the world, and we're looking forward to getting this whole thing started, too.
Boy, I'll say it was quite the sight across Europe, watching all those different performances and the excitement there. Give us a hint, if you can, of what we'll be seeing later tonight when we join your concert for a bit.
We just try and roll this party out onto stage and make sure that everyone's having a good time. I think that the key to tonight is just going to try to make this as upbeat a performance as possible and have a great big party here for the new year.
And have you had any sense already how the people of Prince Albert are reacting to all this? They're getting pretty excited?
Yeah, I had a chance, I took off for lunch today to Tim Hortons, actually, and had a chance to run into a bunch of people, and they're just all very excited, looking forward to what the new year has to offer, and I think it's going to be a good time tonight. The spirits are definitely high here.
All right, Paul Brandt joining us from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. He'll be performing a little later tonight at the casino there in Prince Albert, and we'll be covering some of his concert live, which is great of him to let us in there to watch this. It'll be quite the night in Prince Albert and so many other communities across this country. We'll continue to tell you a little more about what you'll be seeing on our live broadcast when it begins a little more than an hour from now after the special Royal Canadian Armed Force New Year's Eve special. Don't go away. We'll be right back on 2000 Today.
I put in a bird, the northern loon, and I'd put it in for the beauty of its cry. There's no sound more evocative of the Canadian wilderness than a loon. It's the most Canadian of birds. In the wintertime, it heads south to paddle around warm waters, but it doesn't make any noise when it's in the warm waters of the south. To hear a loon cry, you've got to go into the Canadian wilderness.
$2,000 Today, a Millennium celebration, is presented to you in part by Buick. Buick, real power, real comfort, real style.
Restaurant owners, parents of Dana, Michelle, and Steve Jr. due next month. Owners, weekend place. What kind of car did they drive? These are the new Buicks, real-size cars for real-size families. The new Buicks, real power, real comfort, real style. Isn't it time for a real car?
At the Array, we know Canadian communities. Our 3,000 employees live and work all across Canada. Are proud to provide quality service to some 450 of these communities every day, every week, all year long. Michael Flatley is going out in a blaze of glory. The Lord of the Dance in a spectacular non-stop special. Feet of Flame, Sunday, January 9th on CBC. The pace is quicker. The games are tougher. Athletes pushing the limits of endurance. Feel the excitement this January on CBC Sports Saturday.
I think it was when Terry Fox ran halfway across Canada to raise money for cancer.
Well, I think it was the Pan Am Games in 1999 because it was the second time Canada came in second.
I think it was when the Canadian flag was made in 1965.
Great choices from Canada's youth about the Canadian event of the past century. You can register your choice on our internet website at www.cbc.ca. 8 minutes away from the Royal Canadian Air Farce's New Year's Eve special. You won't want to miss a minute of it. But before we go to that, we're going to Banff, Alberta, where Paul Hunter is standing by. On the streets of Banff, and Paul, they tell me they're about to begin the Wapiti Walk. What's that?
The Wapiti Walk indeed. The Wapiti is an Aboriginal term for elk, and in Banff there are plenty of elk. I'm surrounded by elk now. Tiny little elk, two-legged elk. The elk are everywhere in Banff, and I know you'll be excited by this, Peter. We have the spiritual leader of the elk who's going to lead the Wapiti Walk, none other than Elk Guy. Elk Guy, how's it going, and what's going on tonight?
Well, tonight is the night, Paul, of the Wapiti Walk, December 31st. You can see everyone here. We're all going to be loud and proud.
Noisy elk.
And make our way up to the band center. We've had people working hard for weeks on making large puppets and hats and whatnot to celebrate our hooved and antlered friends, the elk and other animals in the park.
Interesting neckwear. What's the deal on the collar?
Well, this year, different from last, I got radio collared, as happens to many elk in town. Now the park can monitor my movements, but it's for my own benefit. Although I'm still quick, they might not catch me yet, and I might not be relocated.
Elk Guy, may I call you Elk Guy?
You may call me Elk Guy.
Okay, thanks very much, Elk Guy. And Peter, it doesn't end there. We have the ever fashion conscious Millennium Man has come to Banff to bring in the new Millennium. May I call you, is it Mr. Man or Millennium Man?
Millennium Man.
Millennium Man?
Millennium Man.
What are you doing for the next 6 hours, and then what happens at midnight?
Well, I'm going up with the Wapiti Walkers up to Banff first night at the Banff Center. Up there, we're going to take our magical lanterns that you've seen. We're taking them up there to help bring in the Millennium in Banff, like people all over the world are doing with the symbols of light and fire. We have a bonfire, we have a laser show, And we want our lanterns to be a shining symbol of the Millennium Man.
Thanks, Millennium Man. And his once in a Millennium costume, I might add, Peter.
That is a tough question, you know, Paul, trying to decide whether, do you call him Millennium or do you call him Mr. Man, you know?
I've been wondering about this all night, so I think we're comfy with Millennium Man.
So they're ready in Banff, they're getting anxious and excited. What else is going to happen there tonight?
Well, there's also a big party at the Banff Springs, you know, a fabulous, fabulous hotel, like one of you know, the 20th century castle. There's themed rooms. We'll hope to show you pictures of that later on tonight, throughout the sort of 20th century, different theme of each decade in each room. Big party there. We're going to be up at the Fine Arts Center a little later on, and we'll come back and we'll let you know how it's going up there.
Okay, Paul Hunter reporting to us live from the streets of Banff, Alberta, and we'll be back there later on this evening as Alberta welcomes the new millennium, and that's a few hours yet for Alberta, another 6 hours before the new year hits in Alberta. Now, a couple of moments ago, I was telling you the Royal Canadian Air Farce, the New Year's Eve special coming up on the CBC main network. That's 5 minutes from now. On News World, which is also, of course, broadcasting this special coverage, has been for the last, where are we at now? Hour 16 hours of live coverage of the millennium, clicking through the time zones of the world. On News World, a special 1 hour broadcast, including highlights of these past 16 hours. And then rejoining us after the Air Farce special in 1 hour's time, at 9 o'clock here in Eastern Canada, for the continuation of our live coverage through the evening, through all the time zones of Canada, right through to Hawaii and beyond. If there's a place in the world that will be celebrating the year 2000 tonight, you're going to see it right here live on the CBC. Now, we're hoping for some pictures from Edmonton of an event that took place there a little earlier this evening. Do we have those pictures? We do have those pictures. Well, let's look at them now. We don't have them. We do have them. Let's make a decision. Here they are. This is called the World Beat Powwow. For 12 hours today, starting at noon, the First Nations peoples are hosting a multilingual, intercultural powwow in Edmonton City Hall. These are scenes of the Grand Entry, which is a ceremonial procession of elders and dancers in full regalia, drummed in with an honor song. They bring with them banners, ceremonial objects, and artifacts representing the different tribes and nationalities. First-time event is significant in that it also includes the elders and dancers from a number of other cultures braided into the traditional powwow structure. Just a few of the cultures participating here include the Filipino, Chinese, East Indian, Nepalese, African, Celtic, Hungarian, and First Nations represented by Métis, Cree, Blackfoot, Blood, and Siksika. Well, that was some of the highlights of the World Beat Powwow.
I'm at the Ranchman's in
Lori
Calgary,
McNaughton
Alberta.
and Ian Tyson. Let's listen to Lori.
Happy New Year.
Same to you, Lori.
Well, thank you very much.
You
I think it's
betcha.
going to be a great night.
I hope so.
Now, do you have any thoughts?
We'll only have one shot.
Well, that's right. That's right. Now, do you have any thoughts about the year 2000? How do you feel about it?
It was a great year for me, and big year. Now I have a huge tax bill, those wonderful guys in Ottawa, so that's why I'm here.
To bring in...
Pay them off and go back to ranching.
And how is ranching?
Ranching's pretty good this year. It could be better, but as long as I keep singing, it'll keep me in the ranching business, and I enjoy both very much. So,
anything you'd like to tell the rest of the country?
I just wish them all the very best, and for those zany guys in Ottawa, our taxes are too high. You know that? Way too high. You know, that's why we have to work all the time. And you know,
see if they can do something about that in the year 2000.
Yeah, you know, we work hard and they take all our money. So other than that, I think Canada's still a pretty good place to live in.
All right, well, we're looking forward to your show later on tonight, and we'll bring that to you later.
All right, Lori, thanks very much. Lori McNaughton with Ian Tyson, and yes, we will be going back live to Ian Tyson for part of his concert in Calgary. Never loses the opportunity to send a message. He's been doing it through song and obviously through interviews for years now. Well, we're going to go live now to Ucluelet on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Look at this, the last sunset in Canada in the 1900s. The sun beginning to dive down into the ocean in the far west. If you've ever been to the west coast of Vancouver Island, you'll see sights you never imagined in this country. It is spectacular. All up the coast from Ucluelet to Tofino, short stretch there of, 18, 20 miles or kilometers. Spectacular beaches, a rugged landscape. We'll be going back to a beach party in Ucluelet later tonight, but there she goes, the sun disappearing into the ocean. You've seen it, the last sunset of the 1900s in Canada. Well, we got 30 seconds to wrap this up. Please stay with us. The great Air Farce special on the CBC main network, a recap of the past 16 hours on News World, and then coming up just an hour from now, everything from the Tragically Hip and Blue Rodeo in southern Ontario to Great Big Sea in the St. John's Harbor, along with Kim Stockwood. We've got bands, entertainers, singers, and your thoughts and your votes for the Canadian of the Century. Don't miss it, right here on CBC.
1999, Year of the Farce, is a 2000 Today CBC special presentation.
You're on your way to Y2K. Stay so long, 99. The Air Farce way. Royal Canadian Air Farce, starring Roger, Dawn, Luba and John and their celebrity guests. Jeannie Becker, David Cronenberg, Ron McLean, Preston Manning, Peter Mansbridge, Rick Mercer, Wendy Mesley, Jerry Schwartz, Julie Stewart, David Suzuki, and a viewer-voted chicken cannon. Welcome to 1999, Year of the Farce.
News from away with your news anchors Jimmy and Seamus O'Toole, brought to you by the Seattle Tourism Board. Come visit us. You'll have a riot.
How's she going, my trout? Welcome to our special look back at the events of 1999. Back in September, the Eaton family announced their department store was bankrupt, proving that it is possible to be both rich and stupid. Way back in January, Toronto was paralyzed by a winter storm. City officials are now confident they can cope with any winter situation. We go live to the downtown where a snowflake has just been spotted. Onex CEO Jerry Schwartz tried to get Air Canada together with Canadian Airlines. He was on the verge of the merge when the urge to submerge the scourge and emerge with a splurge to converge was followed by a surge to purge the merge. Now he's playing a dirge because he saw his merge splurge urge submerge. Say that again. I don't believe I could. In 1999, a Regina inventor came up with a toilet seat that automatically lowers itself. Women's groups say if this seat could only take out the garbage, they'd never need to date again. Well, this year the banks declared record profits while making major job cuts. Here's Seamus with a very special commentary.
Pay attention to my commentary on banking because I'm pointing at you, my son. I don't actually have anything important to say about banking, but if the camera moves in close enough, it's as though I do. Now I'm going to start walking forward as though I'm going someplaces and moving my hands to make an emphatic point, which are, in fact, entirely meaningless gestures to distract your attention. Now I would stop and speak in a deliberate staccato rhythm as if I'm finally going to impart something important about the nature of banking. But before I do, the camera moves to the other side as if something important is going to happen, and it is. I walk off in a completely different direction. The camera tilts to one side, and then it tilts to the other side, trying to trick you into thinking that finally, here is the big moment when you're going to find out what you need to know about banking in this country. Take extreme close-up for no apparent reason. Then I start walking towards Rick Mercer. What are you doing? How's she going, my son?
Don't. How's she going, my son? Me? What are you doing?
I was.
You're doing my bit.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
You have no idea what I do you? That hurts me.
Well, Okay.
You have to start with a basic statement of fact. See, something like, last year in this country, the banks made a profit of over $9 billion. At the same time, they laid off over 17,500 people. And now you start moving the hands, see? To make an emphatic point, but in fact, you're really just distracting the audience's attention. And now, when they least expect it, boom, you change directions. And now no one can possibly follow your line of logic. And now you start to speed up, huh? Just to give the cameraman a bit of a heart attack. And then the camera stops and zooms in for, boom, the big point of the piece.
So, what's our take on the banks, Rick?
They're too damn greedy.
I'd have to say, brilliant as always, Seamus.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Well, this is the year Wayne Gretzky went into the Hockey Hall of Fame. He also went into the Advertising Hall of Fame for most number of commercial endorsements. His latest deals are with Esso, Folgers Coffee, and his latest, Wonder Bra. And to wrap up our look back at the year, here's our 52 weeks in 52 seconds.
Lobster dispute erupts on East Coast. Fishing becomes a contact sport.
Arson in Winnipeg, tourists see immediate improvement.
Clinton impeached, should have been neutered.
Wiretip Willie dead, Slobodan Milosevic alive. Where's the justice?
Ireland gets peace, country gets drunk.
NHL wants fighting eliminated. Good for sport, bad for dentists.
Trudeau voted man of century. Mulroney demands recount.
Queen to appoint Conrad Black. Good Lord.
Premier Glenn Clark resigns in disgrace. Proud BC tradition.
Dr. Kevorkian kills patient on 60 Minutes. Forgets to ask, is that your final answer?
Chrétien opts for ski vacation instead of King Hussein's funeral, but does observe moment of silence in hot tub.
Part of Montreal Olympic roof collapses. Bigger tragedy, rest of building still standing.
Dan Quayle out of U.S. presidential race. Good for country, bad for comedians.
George W. Bush shoo-in as presidential nominee. Bad for country, good for comedians. And that's the news for 99.
Oh, 99 has been a goofy year. We've had mergers and unity up to here. We don't care about Y2K. We'll be ripped on screech all day. Should Parliament just go away? Oh, 99 has been a goofy year. See you next century.
I'm Jill Deacon. Canadians have become unwitting guinea pigs in a nationwide study on the effects of genetically modified foods. So says David Suzuki, well-known scientist and snappy dresser. Suzuki is an extremely side effects of his experiment. This now. Welcome, Dr. Suzuki.
What's up, Jill?
So, what is your specific concern regarding the genetic engineering of food?
Well, Jill, any scientist who says genetically altered foods are safe is a bare-assed ignoramus.
Okay. Back to genetics, Dr. Willie. Suzuki. What prompted you to have a TV show about the male member?
Well, it's a perfectly natural topic. We call that episode The Nature of Thingies.
I see your point of view. Point of view. Now, Dr. Suzuki, what is your major complaint with genetically altering food?
Well, Jill, over 70% of the food in supermarkets is already genetically altered. The potential dangers of these untested foods must be exposed.
You know, it's really hot in here. So, before we go, Dr. Suzuki, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Jill, there is an acceptable way to alter food. I'd like to show you my genetically engineered banana.
No!
I guess that's all for at Discovery Canada. If you want to see more of me, watch The Nature of Things.
Here's Thoughts with...
Hey, Mike from Canmore. Stay. Like this New Year's, I'm resolving a few things. I resolved to after every meal, provided I can find my teeth. I resolved to do my Christmas shopping earlier next year. March, because if you wait till August, all the good Christmas stuff is gone. I resolved to give up eating red meat by spray painting all my steaks yellow. I resolved to feed Norm the best food available, like Alpo-flavored Fruit Loops. I resolved to find a way to cook bacon on my bug zapper. I resolved to help slow down the world's greenhouse effect by leaving my air conditioning on all winter. I resolved to help the elderly across the road by chasing them with a pickup truck. Well, exercise is important, eh? And most important, I resolved to take up smoking, so next year I got something to resolve to give up.
Air Farce Memories of 99 January.
Our currency is strong. So strong, people are now calling the United States quarter the Canadian dollar.
1999, Year of the Farce, is brought to you in part by Via Rail Canada, people moving people, and by Pontiac. Pontiac, built for drivers.
Traveling by train is the truly civilized way to do business. Fine-tune an important presentation. Stay in touch with the office. Or relax and restore your soul. For those who value their time, there's only one way to arrive. Ready for business.
Pontiac, Montana, with exclusive Montana Vision, built-in monitor and video cassette player. Built for drivers and their families.
If you knew someone who was waiting for blood to have surgery, if you knew someone who needed blood today, if you knew someone whose life depended on it, would you say you didn't have the time? Would you save a life? Blood, it's in you to give.
Bust it down now, here we go.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm a teacher, basketball coach.
Hit the shot now, hit the shot, hit the shot.
Shop at Walmart for the best prices and quality goods. We bought 70 basketballs at Walmart this year. And with the money we saved, we were able to afford the materials that the school needs to run a quality program.
Give it to her, that's it, nice pass.
The Tigers are pretty tough to beat. Walmart's pricing is pretty tough to beat, too. If Walmart were a player on my team, she'd be a quality player at a great price. And any team loves that. Played a great game today, ladies, except for the occasional brick we threw up.
There's
said for clarity. In life and in finances, Clarica, investment and insurance solutions.
How's it going, my son? I'm Seamus. I'm Peter Mansbridge. Today, I'm one-on-one with the Prime Minister.
Hey, Peters, you look different like.
Never mind, my son. Let's talk about your recent unity legislation. Peter Mansbridge.
What are you doing?
How's it going, my son?
No. That how's she going stuff won't work with me either.
Well, I was,
I'll take it from here, my son. Hello, I'm Peter Mansbridge, one-on-one with the Prime Minister. Mr. Krejchan, the unity issue. Why reintroduce it now?
Well, you know, Peters, with unity, I know I am open a big can of tapeworm. But this way I surprised both Lucien Bouchard and all the other separatesticals. So, with no majority and any luck, before you know it is golf season.
Prime Minister, you know, I believe I speak for all Canadians when I say, what the hell are you talking about?
Okay, well, I spells it out for you. Unity good, separation bad.
Prime Minister, let me interrupt for a moment for a close-up of me. All right, we're back. Let's talk about the specific wording of the referendum.
As far as me, I myself are concerned, Monsieur Bouchard is free to have any wording he wants.
Really?
Sure, as long as it is in Dutch.
Okay, next question. Can you articulate what constitutes a clear majority?
Okay, like majority and referendum bells with vote must be a big, like even number, like say 63%, or maybe so much like that, or maybe not.
Excuse me, Prime Minister, but it's time for my glam cam. You were saying?
I am not worried about the peoples of Quebec vote to separate thing. Why would they want an idiot like Bouchard as leader when they already got me?
Prime Minister, did I tell you that I've written a new theme song for the National?
Pardon?
You know, the problem with the old theme song is you can't dance to it. Do you want to hear the new one?
Not really, no.
A little bit of national in your life. A little bit of news every night. A little bit of headlines is all you need. A little bit of Peter is what you see. That's it for one-on-one this week. Good night.
I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times, and this week we look back at the movies of the past year. My guest today is the one fat lady. Welcome, one fat lady.
Thank you for having me, Roger. And what better way to show my appreciation than with a cherry cheesecake made with 8 pounds of butter.
Oh, thanks. I'll save this for breakfast. Our first movie is the hugely successful comedy that spoofed James Bond films and popularized the word shagadelic.
What diabolical plot have you hatched, Dr. Evil?
That is Dr. Lucien Evil to you. I plan to take over the world. Well, actually, just Quebec.
Dr. Evil, to help with your evil plan, we began a program to clone you.
Magnifique! Send in the clone! Breathtaking. I shall call him Mini-moi.
I will call you Le Grand Bouchard.
And together we will separate from Canada and force the federal government to pay Quebec a huge settlement. $1 million.
Is that all?
Per person. Like evil, not stupid.
This year, I also enjoyed the sci-fi flick starring Alexa McDonough called Honey, I Shrunk the NDP.
Roger, I did not see this movie, but since it has honey in the title, I give it a thumbs up. One film I did see was the animated blockbuster Toy Story 2. A Joe Clark doll believes dreams can come true and that one day he will become Prime Minister.
I particularly enjoyed the remake of the Ingrid Bergman Humphrey Bogart classic with a more contemporary feel.
Ilse, if that plane leaves the ground and you're not on it, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon, and for the rest of your life.
But Rick, what about us?
We'll always have Paris. Here's looking at you. Can you hang on? I got another call coming in here. Jerry, the last of the game tonight.
This year, I went back to see one of the best films of the Millennium, Saving Private Ryan. Let's take a look.
I'm sorry, our mistake. That was Saving Ryan's Privates.
One of the strangest films of the past year is Being John Malkovich, the story of people who go through a portal into the head of actor John Malkovich. From Canada came this remarkable sequel, Being Margaret Atwood.
Men are such an imposition on the reality of being a woman. They constantly ignore our needs, confining us in an emotional prison while they sit there playing with the remote control. As women, we must insist.
Wow, there sure is a lot of air in here.
On in an endless repetition of meaningless phrases and remarks.
Partisan
A voice
Review.
like mine.
Last monthly. Sports Illustrated. For your life. What is it?
Some of three.
Next movie is a low-budget horror film that turned into the mega hit of the year.
No! We're gonna die. We're gonna die.
Please.
Gotta get out. For God's sake, turn that light off. Sorry. Because it's my fault. Because this is my project.
God, it's hideous.
I'm Preston Manning, leader of the Reform Party. Rotten. Hey, you guys, come back and help me unite the right.
The Preston Manning Witch Project, rated R.
That's R, as in reform.
Air Farce Flashback, February.
There's only one job in the world where you get free travel, free hotels, jewelry, and loads of illicit cash. But how many of us can get on the Olympic Committee?
Closed captioning brought to you by Tetley. The best the tea can be.
And here are last night's $12 million winning numbers. 9, 15, 18, 27, 31. You've got that ticket. Be sure to hang on to it.
Can Am, built for drivers.
Is it the adventure, the excitement of train travel that makes many of us become children again? Is it that within us, one day soon, rediscover this great country? Are you ready?
Yeah, the special tonight is an herb supreme. Capsicum, sage thyme, stuffed with duxelle, lying on animal chimay le besame pelacé with noisette spatchlet.
Wow. What is that?
Excuse me, it's chicken.
There's a lot to be said for clarity in life and in finances. Clarica, investment and insurance solutions.
The critics proclaim The End of the Affair is destined to join An Affair to Remember and The English Patient on the list of the top 10 most romantic movies ever made.
Love doesn't end just because we don't see each other.
The End of the Affair, now playing in select theaters.
The pace is quicker. The games are tougher. Athletes pushing the limits of endurance. Feel the excitement this January on CBC Sports Saturday.
It's going to be the celebration of a lifetime. From all corners of the earth, a spectacular New Year's Eve celebration. 26 hours of live coverage across the country and around the globe. One world coming together through the power of television. With host Peter Mansbridge. 2000 today on CBC. Brought to you in part by Pontiac.
Tonight on Undercurrents. Is the print media exploiting the news just to sell newspapers? Is television visiting the same well time after time? Hello and welcome to Undercurrents, the show about the media. Today's show is about shows that do shows about the media. And what show about the media is more media-friendly than the award-winning Undercurrents? The show with that insightful and intelligent host, Wendy Mesley. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Make yourself at home.
Great, thanks.
Wendy, would you say shows like yours overemphasize the importance of media as it affects social interactivity on a daily basis, while at the same time deconstructing the form itself?
No.
You wouldn't say that?
Absolutely not.
Under no circumstances?
None whatsoever.
You're sure?
Yep.
Will you stop moving the camera around so much? It makes me dizzy. Now, Wendy, what prompted you to be a media journalist?
It was a chance meeting I had with media guru Marshall McLuhan.
You met the Marshall McLuhan?
Only briefly in an elevator, but I'll never forget what he said to me.
What did he say?
8, please.
Wow. Huh?
Well, meeting him, it was a revelation. I knew at that moment what I wanted to be for the rest of my life.
Media journalist.
Elevator operator.
What happened?
Well, turns out I'm afraid of heights. So I had to settle for second best. TV journalist with great hair.
Wendy, it's been a pleasure to have your insight into this subject today.
Well, Wendy, it's always a joy to talk to an intelligent and distinguished journalist like myself.
And that's it for this edition of Undercurrents.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chicken cannon target of 99.
Greetings, civilians. I'm Colonel Stacy. Some of my close friends call me Teresa. During the past 2 months, our highly trained personnel have been tabulating the avalanche of votes that have made their way to headquarters. Even though the government has cut back our supply of chickens, our twin cannons are ready to blast the top targets of 1999. First target in our countdown, future former Ottawa Senator Alexei Yashin. When ready, fire! Looks like Alexei has gone on the injury reserve list permanently. Your next choice, a perennial favorite. He's too easy a target. Well, on second thought, fire! I can hardly wait till he comes back for a third term. Next, that inane, vacant-headed pretty boy known as Ricky Martin. I don't know about you, but I've heard that annoying song so often it's driven my vida loca. And fire! Ooh. I may not be a music critic, but I know what I like. Next is a man who is living proof. If at first you don't succeed, then make the same mistake over and over again. I'm talking about the one and only Sprinter Ben Johnson. This walking drugstore has tested positive for most every substance with the possible exception of urine.